In 93 AD, the Emperor Domitian exiled every philosopher from Rome. No warning, no trial, no appeal. One of those philosophers was Epictetus. Born a slave, already owning nothing, already holding no title, no land, no status to protect, he packed what he had and left. And when his students asked him how he would continue to teach without a school, without a city, without any of the structures that made him who he was, he said something that has survived 2,000 years. Seek not that the things which happen should happen as you wish. Wish the things which happen to be as they are, and you will have a tranquil flow of life. He was not broken by exile, because his identity was not stored in Rome. It was stored somewhere nothing could reach. Most men build their identity the way they build a house, on visible, external foundations. The job title, the relationship status, the income bracket, the body, the reputation, the group they belong to, the achievements they can point to. These things feel solid, they feel real. And for a while, they work as an identity. Until they don't. Until the job is gone. The relationship ends. The body changes. The reputation gets damaged by something outside your control. And then a man who built himself entirely on external foundations discovers something terrifying. He does not know who he is without them. The Stoics called this misidentification, attaching your sense of self to things that belong to the category of not up to you. And they considered it not just a philosophical error, but a practical danger. Because a man whose identity can be taken is a man who can be controlled. Take an honest inventory for a moment. What is your identity currently built on? If you remove your job tomorrow, who are you? If the relationship ends, what remains? If the money is gone, the status is gone, the body starts to decline, what is left of the man you call yourself? For many men, that question produces silence. Not because the answer is bad. Because there is no answer prepared. The ancient world understood this vulnerability better than we do. Rome was a civilization of constant instability. Empires rose and fell. Senators became slaves. Generals became exiles. Everything that could be lost, eventually was. The Stoics did not see this as tragedy. They saw it as information. If everything external is temporary, then building your identity on external things is not just fragile. It is a guarantee of eventual collapse. Marcus Aurelius faced this directly. As emperor, he had more external identity than any man alive. The most powerful title in the world. And yet, in his private writings, he returned obsessively to one question. Who am I beneath all of this? Not what do I have. Not what do I control. Who am I, if everything is stripped away? That question is not pessimism. It is the most important structural question a man can ask. Because the answer to that question is the only foundation worth building on. Epictetus divided all of human experience into two categories. Things that are up to us, and things that are not. Up to us, our judgments, our values, our responses, our choices, our character. Not up to us, everything else. This is not a passive philosophy. It is a radical act of clarity. Because once you accept that everything external is outside your control, you stop trying to build your identity there. And you start building it in the only place that is truly yours. Your values, what you stand for, regardless of what it costs you. Your word, whether you keep it when keeping it is hard. Your response to adversity, how you behave when the pressure is highest. Your relationship with truth, whether you tell it even when the lie is easier. These things cannot be taken. They can be abandoned, yes. A man can betray his own values. But that is a choice, not a theft. No one can reach inside you and remove your integrity. No emperor can exile your character. No loss can destroy what you have genuinely built from the inside. Seneca wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity. For he is not permitted to prove himself. The adversity is not the enemy of identity. It is the test that reveals whether the identity was real." And a man who has built something real inside himself does not fear that test. He welcomes it. Because he knows what will still be standing when it is over. This is not theoretical. The Stoics were not interested in philosophy that could not be practiced on a Tuesday morning when everything was falling apart. So here is the framework they used. The first layer: know your values with precision. Not general words like honesty or strength. Every man says those words. Specific commitments, tested ones. What will you not do, regardless of what it costs you? What will you always do, even when no one will ever know? Write it down, name it, make it concrete. A value that cannot be articulated is not yet a value. It is a feeling. Feelings shift, articulated principles hold. The second layer: detach your worth from your outcomes. This does not mean stop caring about results. It means stop letting results define you. A Stoic gives full effort, then releases attachment to the outcome. Because the effort, the character expressed in the effort, that is yours. The outcome belongs to everything else. A man who defines himself by his wins will collapse with his losses. A man who defines himself by how he showed up will remain intact through both. The third layer: practice being the same man in every context. In success and in failure. In public and in private. When praised and when criticized. Consistency of character is not rigidity. It is the mark of an identity that is no longer dependent on circumstance to exist. When you are the same man at your highest point and your lowest, when your values do not expand and contract based on what is convenient, that is when you have built something that cannot be stolen. Because there is nothing to steal. It is simply who you are. Epictetus was exiled from the most powerful city in the world. He built a school in a small town called Nicopolis. His students came from across the empire, including eventually the men who would advise emperors. He owned almost nothing for his entire life. He died known as one of the wisest men in the ancient world. Not because of what he had. Because of what could not be taken from him. That is the only identity worth building. Not the one that impresses people. Not the one that collapses when circumstances change. The one that is so thoroughly yours, so built from the inside out, that the world running out of things to offer you, or things to take from you, changes nothing about who you are. Build that. Protect that. Everything else is temporary. That never has to be. Walk the path. Remain steady.